Welcome to the AI Ireland podcast, your window into the world of AI innovation on the island of Ireland. Join us as we explore how AI is harnessed to tackle both business and societal challenges, revealing the cutting-edge solutions emerging from this vibrant AI community. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates and insights in the world of AI. Hello everyone, it is Mark Kelly here, founder of AI Ireland. I hope you're doing really well wherever you are today. In a run-up for the AI Awards, I'm really happy to have the lads from Buymedia here. They are down as a finalist for this year's Best Application of AI in an SME. We've got Fergal O'Connor, CEO and founder of Buymedia, and we've got Galvin Venugopal, Head of Engineering at Buymedia. Fergal, Galvin, thank you very much for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having us, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Fergal, tell us a little bit about Buymedia. How did it start out? Why did you found the company in the first place? Because being an entrepreneur myself for the last kind of 7 years or so, it's quite a big undertaking, and it's not necessarily a straight shootout.
For sure, and as you well know, and anyone who started their own business will know, there's no such thing as a straight line hockey stick to success either. It's very much about iterating and testing and bumping up against failure on many occasions until you get the right solution, and maybe you never get the right solution. But to give you a bit of background, my background was in media sales, so I actually worked in advertising and media for almost 20 years, and I'd worked across the gamut of all types of media, so everything from print initially up to TV and radio, and then social and digital as those kind of platforms and media started to become more of a thing for advertisers. So I'd worked across all types of media, and I got to a point in my career where I was looking at all of the problems that I'd come across over that 20-year career, and all of the marketing teams and all of the marketing managers and marketing executives I've worked with, and what were their core problems. And the core problem was around what we discovered was four main things. It was around the planning, the purchasing, the managing or executing, and the learning or reporting from their advertising campaigns. And with that insight from probably about 600 customers that I interviewed before we started Buymedia, the idea for Buymedia as an AI platform was born.
It's interesting you say that, because sometimes when you hear about kind of startups and companies and their stories, they can kind of sound a little bit kind of like fairy tales, and they just landed and they came into it. But the majority are working in the industry or being in a lab or did a PhD, and they're solving a problem from a real domain expertise, and they feel like they now want to go and make the next step. So you had that kind of intel from speaking to customers, asking them the problem and seeing, well, actually, this is a problem worth solving, where for a lot of businesses, the problem actually isn't really worth solving because you kind of get a bit of a, you solved it. And that's probably a lot worse than anything else, just getting the, if you fill it, it's great. If you don't, I still carry on. That's the worst. It's almost like coming fourth in a race. It's just, you just don't want that type of response. So you came with that kind of tacit knowledge, you got the inside track, you were kind of getting the kind of the words from this is my pain point enough to go and start on this journey. So kind of in a nutshell, what does Buymedia look to do? And I understand you set those kind of four areas. Tell us a little bit about how it's kind of closing the gap between SMEs and large enterprises in advertising.
Yeah, so the challenge is as outlined with those four areas, but to break it down into a bit more granular detail, if you can imagine you're a marketing manager or a marketing team within a business or an organization, and you're tasked with, here's €500,000 or €1 million in advertising budget. Now find me that customer in media, place my ads in the right media to actually get in front of the customers that we're trying to target. Once you've got that done, you need to purchase it at the most cost-effective and cost-efficient way possible. You need to then execute at speed, because we need to get that campaign out next month. So it needs to be done fast. And then at the end of it all, I need to learn what's worked and what hasn't worked for me. So at the minute, there's no platform or no way for marketing teams to do that globally across omnichannel, what we call omnichannel, which is across traditional TV, radio, out of home, direct mail, and say local and national radio stations, then mixed in with digital and social. So there's no way to do that, to find out, first of all, where my customer consumes their media, can I buy it at the most efficient cost possible? Can I execute at speed, and can I learn? So that's what Buymedia does. And the way we do it, Mark, is we basically take the customer from the organization or the business, and we create an AI persona or a synthetic customer from that customer. That turns it into a piece of data that then our system can use to query our algorithms with a number of different databases, where we can figure out the media consumption, the type of consumer they are, the behaviors and attitudes, and then we can create from that a media plan. We then have built AI agents that can actually go and purchase those campaigns from the different media companies. Again, the unique thing about our platform is it's both traditional and digital and social, so you can get that from across the gamut of all media. Then we execute it again. You've got an execution platform where you can actually send all the ad copy, bring in all the transmission times, figure out the most efficient way to get your ad copy to different media companies. But then the real goal in the system, and the goal that this guy beside me, Galvin, has created, is being then able to examine that data and figure out what has worked and what hasn't worked for that business or organization. So look at the KPIs within the business, whether that's revenue or footfall or calls into call centers, and figure out which of the advertising campaigns and which of the media has actually driven that. And again, that's thanks to the onset of like AI predictive analytics, that we can actually look back at those patterns and figure out what has worked and what hasn't worked. So we're trying to create a feedback loop within the business that takes all that information, and the business then can constantly learn and improve from its advertising campaigns to grow the business much more effectively and efficiently.
So building on what Fergal said, Galvin, so if you think about customers, for people to really take action, they really want you to be talking to them in their love language, and they want their problem to be solved, right? And that's usually where that kind of action. And we've all got different types of intricacies with what our problem is to make us move closer to a solution. So with the synthetic side of it, how do you generate those insights? How do you kind of build on it? Because I kind of see that as you've kind of got an automated process now that was previously manual, which probably had an awful lot of more, how would you say, probably beliefs or gut feel versus probably more hard data. Maybe I've simplified it.
You're right. I mean, so basically when we were creating this solution, one of the problems that we were trying to figure out is like, how do you understand what our customers wanted? Take the biases that they have and remove those biases with hard-hitting data. So, like when we're talking about media consumption of their target audience, we kind of got data from like various sources to like different market researches and stuff like that to bring it together into a platform, and told them for this target customer, this is their media consumption, unlike what you were previously doing, which might be off by a few things, which was mostly biased decisions that they were doing. So that's what we tried to bring in and kind of collate into this model that we created.
When you look at the current models out there, large language models, world generative AI, it feels like there is a new incumbent coming on to the market every day. Hundreds, if not thousands now, offering different types of solutions. So in one way, that's an incredibly incredible opportunity to be leveraging all these different types of models. But from a practicality perspective, how do you actually go about implementing some of these cutting-edge models and then leveraging generative AI for marketing plans and customer interactions? Because I'm imagining there's kind of some major technical challenges you've had to face in terms of developing these solutions, because it sounds so wonderful and so accessible, but I'm sure the reality of actually getting your hands dirty are completely different.
Oh, absolutely. Like each model that we tried out, so before we decided on which model to even go for, we tried out multiple models, trying to understand what kind of results they came back by default, and then which came back the most accurate results according to our media buyers who was already working with us. So we have experts in the media field who we send out these insights and see if that makes sense from like the practicality point of view. Because again, to be honest, it's generative. These models are generative, so it all depends on what kind of insights they return. So we have to get our human reinforcement learning in place there. So it did take us a long time to understand that proper balance to it. So that's the way that we were able to reach this point that we're at.
And we think about personalization, right? Because ultimately it's all about you getting me, right? And that kind of that personalization aspect. The platform is centralizing campaign data, and then it's automating the learning process from past campaigns. Can you explain how the system uses the data to optimize future campaigns and then kind of boost ROI for SMEs?
So what we do is every time customer does a campaign, we have actually an econometrics model on the platform, which kind of understands how the media mix what has affected the KPIs of the clients, which we again collect from the clients to understand it. And then that insight is then pushed into the actual model, the Buymedia AI model, to kind of learn from and change the next refine, not change, refine the next marketing campaign that comes through.
Yeah, I think, Mark, just to add to Galvin's, like this has come from probably 30, 40 years of advertising and marketing, like media mix modeling, econometric modeling. But the beauty of it now is that was never accessible to your standard SME type business, because you're talking about, 150K, 200K of a project for a business to implement a proper econometrics or market mix model in their business. The beauty of now having AI and having a platform and having an automated system that can do it is you can give SMEs the power that big global brands have on their desktop, and able to use the power of the AI to actually look back at the patterns in their business of what was driving revenue, what was driving footfall, what was driving calls into their call centers, and then using a predictive AI looking out into the future to actually say, well, if I was to do that same kind of mix of media again in the future, what is the likely impact on my revenue, my footfall, my calls into call centers? Or let's say I adjust it. Let's say I make little adjustments. I do less on TV. I do more on social media. I do more on search. I do less on radio. What impact is that going to have? So rather than the SME in a lot of instances wasting the limited budgets that they have on their advertising, they can now model that out in advance to save them an absolute fortune on their advertising before they actually do it. And then what we're really creating, Mark, is a hypothesis in the business. We're saying, like, we hypothesize that this media mix based on our data and our AI is going to have this impact on your business. And then we learn at the end of it whether it has or it hasn't. And as Galvin said, then refine the campaigns continually to make sure that we're getting the maximum impact for the business possible.
Because when you look at all the changes, even the last couple of months with Google, the algorithm changes were so significant, where people that were previously ranking have now dropped onto different types of pages. And you kind of feel like you're really putting your finger up in the air to kind of go, what's the impact? What's the response? Understanding the algorithms that's channeling all these different things. It's a really, really difficult time to start managing and measuring impact. So having some type of insights on that is so helpful from a kind of an ROI and business growth perspective. So your platform has helped organizations achieve a 27% increase in advertising ROI, and it's generated 128 million in new business over the past year. There's some really, really nice numbers there. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of those success stories and where AI-driven insights have kind of made a difference for those customers?
Yeah, again, I can't obviously tell you the client names that are getting those numbers from, but they're, all the clients that we deal with are available on our website, so anyone can go and have a look. But so not getting into the specifics, but just in general, the clients that have success with our platform basically take it from the point of view of the first of all, the big thing is about trust. You have to be able to trust the platform to actually share the data. So all of these, as you will well know, and everybody involved in AI will know, there's no point in having this super shiny AI system unless you feed it really good quality and good quantity of data. So the businesses that have success with the platform are the businesses who share the data with the platform. So they're sharing all their KPIs within the business. We have all the ad metrics, so we know like what they're spending across the different advertising platforms, the different media. So we have all that data. And it's basically like to bear it down to its kind of basic instance, it's matching those things together. It's figuring it, it's with the data and with the AI, figuring out what has had the best impact on the business. So it's taking that synthetic customer, it's building out the media profile of that synthetic customer. It's placing the ads in the right allocation to reach that customer in the best way across their media journey every day, every week. It's then executing it really efficiently and effective from a cost perspective. Because again, you spoke about ROI, Mark, and the issue that a lot of SMEs have is that they're paying over the odds for their advertising, because the big global brands can really negotiate rates down, whereas the small businesses can't. So for an SME, the return on investment is much harder than it is for a large global brand, because they're paying more in the first place for their advertising. So we help that by bulk buying on behalf of the advertisers as well and reducing down the ad rate. So with the purchase, that obviously helps with ROI. And then the final piece is the learning. Like if you can get all that data into our system, you can cleanse it, you can get into a format that the AI understands, you can really give the business back valuable insights and recommendations then from the business. So it's by using the process that's in place that on the product and the platform that Galvin has built, is by, if they use that properly and they put the data in properly and they get the outcomes, they will see the results. They will see that 27% is an average, because there are some clients that don't have as much data. The guys that have a lot of data are probably seeing up to 40-50% increases. So it depends on the data inputs and using the platform and the processes properly, really.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound so interesting or exciting if you've to spend a year to 2 years getting your data fit for purpose, rather than actually just saying, I'll throw AI at it, let's lob it in and see what happens. That's a lot more exciting, isn't it?
We use the analogy, Mark, of a light switch. You know, we talk to some businesses and they go, oh, so this is going to be like a light switch. I'll just like feed in all this data and suddenly I'll have like visibility on everything that's going on. Unfortunately, it's not like that. As everybody that's in this industry knows, it's a relatively long process, first of all, to get the data in the right format, to get the data cleansed, to get the enough data. But it's also it's also that they don't have sometimes the patience to wait for the outcomes. But you know, you can give them bits and pieces along the way. Like, you know, with the synthetic customers, they'll get more insights initially. With the better purchasing power, you'll get that instantly. With the reporting, you'll get that instantly. But maybe it's the kind of the long tail of I want insights and recommendations immediately, when you can't really get that until we run a certain amount of campaigns, and you probably have between 12 and 24 months of data to actually give those recommendations back. So there is a patience involved.
Yeah, but I do. People really do start to feel congruent around the journey once they can see the building blocks they're building across the business, which is then sustainable. And I think we're all in those kind of data-centric business now, where people want to have more data-driven decisions to do that next best action. So at least you can kind of see how you're utilizing. And then companies have got so much proprietary data that now they can actually start to really build insights and take confidence, kind of similar to when you're talking about 400 to 500 or 600 customers. You really had that kind of data insights that was built up to say, actually, you know what, the evidence is saying this, rather than the gut feel. And then there's no better evidence than actually looking at purchasing or decisions or opt-ins or links or whatever shows within that. When you look at the future of ad tech, and generative AI has made such an impact across sales and marketing particularly, where do you see it going the next 6, 12, 18 months? I wouldn't dare ask you further than that.
What did you say about the future is the hardest thing to predict. So we'll give it a go. I'll go first. I give Galvin a shot then. I look at kind of the more of the strategic pieces, like what can AI help a business do from a strategic perspective. And if we're looking in our context of marketing, like advertising, if you can use AI and data to give a more joined up customer journey for a start, right? So you've got multiple touch points of your customer, whether it's online through social media, you've got website visits, you've got probably e-commerce, you've got in-store, you've got touch points across different media throughout the day. If you can start to use AI to try and join up those customer journeys and give the customer then offerings and promotions and messaging that's relevant to them and relevant for their journey and relevant to what they're searching for, then it's obviously going to make the customer's experience way better. And obviously then they're going to thank you as the retailer or the business who's bringing that joined up journey to them and bringing those offers to them. So that's hugely beneficial for businesses to be able to use it in that way. We would see it from our context as well, of like really media efficiency and effectiveness. Like, so if you're a business that's say currently spending between $500,000 and $1 million a year on advertising spend, and you might be getting a certain return on investment for that, and you have to go as the marketing team to your CFO every year and convince them that you need to spend that money again. And they're saying, well, show me the evidence. And you actually don't have any evidence. You're just, as to your point, you're using your gut and you're saying, oh, we feel like it, we're getting busier. But if you can actually bring evidence to that journey for both the marketing team and the finance team, then again, it's helping the organization to be more efficient and effective with their spend, but also that then what the knock-on effect of that is that the business grows more efficiently. So it's not just that siloed piece of advertising. Advertising is just a lever within the business that they can help to grow. So they'd be the two areas that we really look at, joining up those customer journeys and getting more efficiency around media, the two things that we're really focused on and where we can see it having a huge impact in the future.
Gavin, do you want to add to anything there? Any other insights on that?
No, my main focus, personally, my main focus will be to kind of the media efficiency and effectiveness side of things, to kind of provide recommendations to our clients that, you know, is backed with good data, and we want to make sure that their businesses grow when they use the platform that we're building for them. So that's basically like where I see us going forward from here. And we want to leverage AI in that kind of journey.
Yeah, and it does make for a very solid conversation when you're going back to providers and actually saying, well, this is my intel, this is what your intel is showing. I think we need to have a bit of a discussion about that. And that CFO conversation becomes a very more straightforward conversation if you could show those percentage points increases and the justification on that as well, right? So I think everybody is kind of demanding that move towards that, because it feels like the other is just not sustainable anymore.
For sure. I think the other thing, Mark, that could be really interesting from our business's perspective is adding creative then into that data set. So if you can start to add in, so we at the moment, most of our data and our AI examines just the media efficiency, the spend around media. But actually, if you can layer on creative on top of that, because our data again shows that the success of a campaign is probably 55% down to the creative, and some of the rest of it's down to what we do. So 55% is out of our control. But if you can start to leverage on insights into data, so imagine a future where not only can you have a system where it can look at the AI can look at, okay, what was my media spend and how effective was that, but also look at the creative that was actually executed around those campaigns and figure out then what creative was having the most impact with different types of customers, different types of profiles. You can almost get then a complete holistic view of what is having impact on an advertising campaign.
Yeah. You've been listening to the AI Ireland podcast. My name is Mark Kelly, and we've been discussing Fergal and Galvin's work for Buymedia, a part of the best application of AI and SME. Buymedia is an AI-powered platform which helps SMEs in Ireland and the UK overcome advertising challenges by simplifying planning, purchasing, execution, and learning. It offers data-driven insights, a centralized marketplace, and automated campaign management, enabling SMEs to compete effectively with large enterprise and improve their ROI. Thanks so much, guys, for going into some of the detail about that. We could have gone into a lot more, I'm sure, but today was a really, really good taster of it, and I look forward to seeing you on the 26th of November.
Thanks, Mark. See you then. Thanks a million.
On the 26th of November, join us for the 6th Annual AI Awards at the Marco Hotel in Dublin. This year's event promises to be our largest and most impressive yet, with over 300 community members in attendance and over 48 applications of AI in action. This truly is an incredible world-class event, and we are inviting you to this event. Experience the excitement live, because we're going to be capturing this with a world-class film crew, and it's going to be streamed online. However, if you want to join us in person, book your table now, because opportunities are limited. If you're interested in sponsoring this year's awards, please contact me at Mark@AI Awards for more information and see the best in class of AI applications on the island of Ireland.